Chris Stevens.
Well, thank you, Mr Deputy Speaker. It's a pleasure to follow my good friend and honourable comrade from Islington North, and I want to congratulate my honourable friend for North Ayrshire and Arran for securing and leading this debate, and started off with, I thought, some very harsh truths that had to be heard, including the simple fact we would not be here debating this today if the government had allocated their own time to discuss this report and discuss how we go forward. And that's exactly what should have happened. Now, Mr Deputy Speaker, I'm starting to get good at this game of anticipating what is in the government's pre-prepared text. And I'm no doubt we will be told that these pension changes were in the great cause of equality. That if you punish people equally, that's great strides towards equality. But the simple and brutal dynamic is this, Mr Deputy Speaker, is that women born in the 1950s have been discriminated against throughout their whole lives. That starts off with growing up and not having a chequebook unless they get the express permission of their father or their husband, not being able to hire a television, for example, in those days, unless they had the express permission of their father or their husband, the expectation, Mr Deputy Speaker, that if they fell pregnant, that they were to leave their employment, the expectation that they would have to give up their careers to raise children, and as my honourable friend from Livingston had said earlier, that if they were divorced, the expectation on a financial settlement would be their pensionable rights would be there at the age of 60. So this discrimination of 1950s born women has been going on for a long time. And then to say to them, some of people who have had very little notice, as if it's some sort of episode of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, we don't want to give you that. We want you to work an additional 6 years, all in the name of equality, is frankly ludicrous. And we need to recognise that for many 1950s born women, these were the injustices and the discrimination that they have suffered throughout their whole lives. And we need to start recognising that this was not some magical equality formula. It was to make women work longer. And I think we need to have a serious debate, Mr Deputy Speaker, that there is a huge difference between someone's working age expectancy and someone's life expectancy, because they are two entirely different things, particularly for those women who work in huge physical tasks like, for example, the care sector, the NH sector, and I'll give way to my honourable friend.
I'm very grateful to my honourable friend, and he's making a very important point. And I want to go back to the Cridland report, because I remember meeting Cridland at the time, and this very issue about healthy life expectancy, and to be told that the DWP didn't hold such information because that was the responsibility of the health department, just shows you the dysfunctionality and the lack of concern about people's healthy life.
Honourable friend for that, and he is right. You would think there was. I've always been told there's joined up government in here, but so many occasions. Yes, I've been told. But well, I'm often told by that side that there's joined up government, but all too often, I think those of us in these collective benches, I sometimes find that meets us with the surprise and the quizzical look that I got from the Labour front bench when I had said that there was joined up government in here. And but my right honourable friend is correct. We need to consider these things going forward, because someone who works in a physical environment, particularly women, as I said, in the care sector, for example, the NHS or any other line of work, will not be able to work till they're 66. That is just a brutal dynamic. And a number of colleagues, my good friend from Easington and my right honourable friend from Rossguy and Lochaber, made mention of the former Pensions Minister who rose to his feet at that great Westminster Hall debate, which was packed to the rafters, and told us all that one of the solutions was that women could apply for an apprenticeship in a new phase of the economy. That was the most ludicrous comments that I've heard. And I've heard many ludicrous comments in the time I've been here, Mr Deputy Speaker, but that was number one on the list, I have to say. Mr Deputy Speaker, I do want to pay tribute to the WASPI Glasgow and Lanarkshire group campaigners, particularly the great Cathy MacDonald and Rosie Dixon, who have campaigned rigorously and vigorously over these last few years, including the times when, after the 2019 election, when many people thought that this was an issue that had been concluded, was finished and wasn't getting anywhere. And can I say that those WASPI campaigners, those 1950s born women who have campaigned consistently on this issue for the last 5 years in particular, should be commended in this House. Because this Parliament is going to have to grapple. Next week we're going to be discussing the report on infected blood. We've got a piece of legislation, rightly so, for the postmasters, and we have this issue. And I agree with everyone who's spoken so far that we need to conclude this matter before the summer recess, so that we can all say as a Parliament that that's the cost, that we all accept the cost, and then we can debate matters going forward. Because I'm very clear, Mr Deputy Speaker, that justice for the 1950s born women, or the infected blood community, or those postmasters, should not be the result, and they should not be blamed for a lack of public investment going forward, or lack of investment in public infrastructure. This country badly needs those things, and so we should not use these wonderful campaigners as an excuse to do so. Now, I mentioned the great Rosie Dixon, Madam Deputy Speaker, who contacted me earlier with a quote from perhaps one of my favourite political philosophers. A political philosopher, Mr Deputy Speaker, who hailed from Govan in the Glasgow South West constituency, the great Jimmy Reid. And Jimmy Reid's, one of his famous quotes is, "From the very depth of my being, I challenge the right of any man or any group of men in business or in government to tell a fellow human being that he or she is expendable." The views of many 1950s born women is that this government has viewed them as expendable. And I want to send a message clearly in this House on their behalf, as many others have today. They are not expendable. They deserve justice. And if justice is delayed, the price tag is going to go up. And I hope the government recognise that. And I hope that the ministers are going to confirm today that we're going to see action on this and justice for those wonderful, brave 1950s born women. Yeah. Yeah.